Hey everyone, my name is Rose and welcome to my channel. So today I was inspired to make a little festive top, just an easy V-neck top that's quite loose fitting and it has some bows on the shoulders. So I actually found this fabric, it's actually a tablecloth, but I'm going to upcycle it into this top and inspiration. So let's get to it. I'm gonna bring you along with the design process and hope you enjoy. So here is our little template that I'm using. This is what I use to start all my patterns with. You can show a detailed image of the front and back view. You can also record the measurements that you're working with. You know, you're subject to change and your weight can fluctuate throughout the years. So if your pattern was created 1 year and your body measurements change, this can be like a really nice record to keep track of which is which. On the bottom right page of the page, I also share like a little box where you can put like your fabric swatches in it as well, so you can make sure you're keeping track of which make it is. Fit guide is also so helpful. You can also record your family members' measurements if you're creating something for somebody and keep this as a record. Okay, so we have just completed the initial design sketch. So I use a template. It was really helpful for me, so I ended up adding it also to my Etsy shop. So you can see it in the link in my bio. This has been so helpful for me. I end up making PDF printable patterns. So I typically end up making a few fits before I launch them. So I can kind of go in, make some fitting notes, circle which fitting it is. I always like to add like our little swatch here just so I have like a mental understanding or remember that which was the first, which one was the second, which one was the third. And then I add all my information here on this page. So if you like one, you can also see one in the bio link below. So this style is going to be a little bit lower than your high hip. It's going to be able to fit into your mid to high rise jeans. Overall, there's going to be no darts. I don't think so in this style. Maybe I'm going to actually end up draping this. So that's kind of be figured out once I have her on the form. So this is going to be nice and loose so you can fit it into your jeans. It's going to have a little blouson effect. And the back V-neck is going to be, I think, a slightly lower than the front V-neck. So just an overall really cute style. I'm working from some thrifted materials. So you can see here we have a natural scalloped edge, which I'm just going to use as the natural hem. So I have also, that's nice, kind of, I don't also have to do any hemming here. So really working with the fabric details that I do have. And we're gonna have two non-functional bows on the shoulders. So I'm really excited about this. Let's get her thrifted. Let's get her, let's get her draped. All right. So before I start draping, I kind of want an understanding of how wide I want the neck width. I want this to cover your bra strap but also not be too narrow. So I measured it on myself and then I kind of just made a mental note of where this measurement landed on my dress form. So when I'm doing this process, I'm trying to be very, very intentional with where I'm placing my lines. So I've pretty much taken off and put back on the same line a few different times, and then I'll kind of take a step back to make sure that the lines are just as I want. So sometimes I take a bit of a step back and then redo the line here. So for this version, I had a little bit trouble with our front armhole and also the back armhole. So you can see here, I am kind of just taking a step back, looking at it, redoing it, taking a step back, just making sure that this is the perfect shape because everything matters when you're draping and when you're starting your initial style lines. Okay, so I have our layout for the tank. Our next step is to drape it. So I'm actually using some recycled fabric here. This is a thrifted cotton bed sheet. So I just chuck it in the wash and give her a little clean before we use her. This is going to be what I'm draping with. I'm gonna go over and give her a little iron before I start using it. But I'm going to fold over I'm going to fold over the one hem side so that we have about an inch folded back. Then this is going to go at our center front, and I'm going to drape the front and back bodice. So what I love about using regular kind of fabric, so this is just like 100% cotton sheet, is that I can also use this as an actual wearing sample, because I feel like with muslin, you're kind of just stuck to what you initially have and you can't always wear it. So this is going to be, we'll have a seam here at our little trial here, but I can also mirror it, sew it at the center front and center back, and we can have a wearable sample. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fold back that 1 inch, and then we're going to drape the girl. So when draping, we always either start at the center front or center back. So I'm putting some pins in, they're pinned in and kind of pointed towards me so that if you kind of give the fabric a tug, it just stays exactly where it is. You want to make sure that there's enough fabric that when you're smoothing it up into the shoulder line, that it covers the actual shoulder seam. So you can see me here kind of just manipulating and playing with the fabric. Initially for this sample, I didn't want to do a bust dart. However, I decided that it was kind of important. So you can see me here, I am pinning out that bust dart, and then I'm drawing in all of the seam allowance, all of the neckline information, and the shoulder information and armhole. The next step I'm doing is just to give everything a nice little trim so you can have a better understanding of where all your lines are. This also helps to let your fabric relax a little bit. So maybe you just want to double check all of your placements here. Sometimes I will smooth up the neckline up until the shoulder seam just to check to make sure that there's no extra ease or anything like that. That would be the time to double check all this. After doing the front, I move on to the back. So for the most part, it's better to work with something about eye level. So the bodice was a little bit too low for me, so I ended up raising up the dress form just a bit. I'm adding all the style lines here, and then I'm giving this a nice little trim down. So what you didn't see here is I took them both off the dress form and I made sure that they all had 3/8 seam allowance going throughout the garment. So on the neckline, the shoulder seam, and the armhole, all 3/8 throughout. I am repinning everything back on the dress form, and I'm aligning the side seam. So this helps to make sure that underneath the armhole is all flush and even with each other on the front and back bodice. And then I'm pinning it from the armhole all the way down to the hem, not attached to the dress form itself. This will help to make sure that it's balanced, everything is matching up, and it is just how you want it. So I just wanted to share how I store my patterns. I just grabbed this white little envelope here. I place my alterations template on top, and then I just fold all the pattern pieces and neatly stow it away here. This is what I found makes me feel more organized, and I love this technique. Okay, so essentially this is the first fit. So everything seems to be pretty much as I had wanted it. So the neckline, this is the sample is without the facing. So we're gonna put that in after, but I wanna move right on to my silver fabric for the holidays because everything kind of seems really nice. I'm gonna finish this a little bit later, but this is just to show you that your first samples, they don't need to be in muslin. They could be in a fabric that's a little bit cheaper, maybe something thrifted or something you've been keeping. You you don't need to cut with muslin, and this is more environmentally friendly as well. So this I'll finish later. I'll add the facing and the bows on the top. So you can see here, I have the side dart, the back here as well. It's a little bit lower, but you know, I'm wearing a bra now, and that's completely hidden. The length, obviously this one needs to get kind of cleaned up a bit. And obviously I would not wear this with, you know, Adidas pants, but I'm sewing from home. So this is kind of just the idea. You would wear your jeans and you would just have it kind of tucked into your jeans. So I'm really liking this fit. However, obviously if there was anything I wanted to make changes to, I would apply it to my flat pattern. I would indicate it here in like my fitting notes, and then you can kind of check it off once it's completed from that. So let's move on to our fabric, and hopefully we'll get to finish this today. Hi everyone, so this is actually day 2 of sewing. I've already started working obviously on the bodice. The fabric was a little funky, so when I was trying to put our stay stitches into the neckline and the armholes, it was pulling slightly, so I decided to add a little bit of interfacing here. This is just to prevent any fraying or any other issues when we're sewing. So I already went through. The side seams are all French seamed, so I put the wrong sides of the fabric together, sewed up the side seams, and then trimmed down the seam allowance, reversed, and gave it another sew through. So you see that here, a nice clean inside. I am now moving on to sewing in our facing. So I have created it just a bit below the bust. So it will have the darts as well. So I've sewn the darts. I'm going to go through and sew the neckline, sew the armhole, see how far I get here. And then we can trim and flip this, and it's almost done. Okay, so initially I was going to add like a little facing to the garment. However, the material that I'm working with is really challenging. It's pulling a bit, it's moving a lot, and I think it might be better if I added just bias binding instead. So I removed all of that, and now I'm going in with just some white. So I'm putting the sides together, the right sides together, and then I think I'm also going to trim this down a little bit. And then I'm going to probably hand sew this. I'm just gonna double check and see, hopefully all of this works out, because this fabric is, it's a bit interesting. Okay, so I just finished the bias binding on the back. So here we are. So it's a nice clean finish. This is what I did want it, but yeah, I guess we took a different road to get here. So I kind of just did this just to double check in this and see if this is gonna work. I'm going to now remove the front completely and recut it and redo this one completely so that we can add it to this guy. Then I'm going to reshape the armholes a bit, add the bias binding there, and complete this look. Okay, so I've made my straps. So these were all just using whatever I could kind of cut and salvage from the rest of the fabric that I was working with. I think I'm gonna finish this guy and possibly make one additional one. I have like a plaid, which really might be nice for the holidays, before I create this pattern and release it. So I have the straps. I wanted something a little bit wider, so this will sit on your shoulder. And then I have these, which will make the bow itself. So that will go on top, and then something slightly smaller. So this will go kind of around the strap, totally around the strap. So it'll give the bow that little cinching at the center. and then the straps will lay on the front and the back of the bodice. So I'm gonna go and finish the armhole. I still have to sew the rest of the binding all the way in, or the bias all the way in. And then I'm gonna get to sewing the bows on, finishing the edges, and then we're almost done. All right, so this is the first little try on. It's really nice and like shimmery. I love this. It's really nice for the holidays, so I'll probably end up wearing it at some point. So the back is quite low, but it still covers your bra line, which I really love. And I like the delicate kind of curve at the front. One thing I'm not liking is obviously sewing with the bias binding. That was not really planned. So for like this version, I'm gonna go in and have it maybe fully lined. And what a great option with this is if you also leave the bows or if you make them detachable, this could be a garment that you can flip inside and out possibly. I still have to work into this as I do my second sample and then the directions. But I'm gonna go in and add the bows to the shoulders and then we're pretty much complete. So moving on to the bow construction. So you can see here I have the tail and the bow center itself currently already on the garment. I have added a little tack, so this is to stay in place. The next piece is the center. So this piece is a little bit more narrow than the bow and the tail itself. This will help if when you create a little bit smaller, it helps you pull in the center to create that little cinched effect. Okay, I finally finished. I put all the bows on, added finished all the edges. I definitely will be making this one more time, but let's try this on. Right, so here, this is the final reveal. I really like this. It came out much better than I was expecting. Obviously with like some little hiccups, and I'm so glad that there's no more of this fabric, so I won't feel pressure to making anything else from it. I'll probably just use the scraps to make some little bows or something for our Christmas tree this year, but I really like how this came out actually, so I'm really happy that as much trouble as this fabric was to work with, it did come out quite cute. So I designed this so that it's like a little blouson effect. And you can tuck it into your mid to high-rise jeans. So these are high, they're at my natural waist. So this is just tucked in. You can obviously untuck it to have, well, maybe I'll have that at some point to have the scallop showing. But I love how this is also covering my bra line, my bra straps. So that's really nice. The bows came out super cute. And then in the back, the version it stops right above your bra strap. So that came out also really nice. I think I'll have to make this at least one more time before this becomes an actual pattern on my website. But I'm really excited about how this came out. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me here as we did this little sew along for my new top. If you like this content, please subscribe and share with a friend.